Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Morning Report here on fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com. My name is Willie Lawson, and today we're diving straight into something that I've been biting my tongue about for a minute, honestly. And probably shouldn't have. Because if we don't talk about this, if we don't shine a light on what's happening to boys and men in our society, then we're going to wake up one day and realize that the damage is too deep to fix. Today, we're talking about the erasure of boys. Yes, erasure, not criticism, not improvement, erasure. Now, and if you think I'm exaggerating, just hang with me for a bit, because what's happening right now in our schools, in our institutions, our organizations, and even in our language is not some vague cultural drift. It's intentional. It's targeted. And it's built on an ideology that believes that masculinity is fundamentally flawed and must be corrected, neutered, folded, spindled, or apologized for. Well, I don't buy that. And I know that you don't buy it either. So today we're going to explore the Boy Scouts rebranding themselves into something gender neutral, fraternities accepting women while still calling them brothers. I know, I'll tell you all about that. Schools treating normal boy behavior as deviance. And the broader cultural whisper campaign that says anything male exclusive must be fixed. Okay, this isn't about going back in time. This is about restoring sanity. Let's start it. All right. Once upon a time, the Boy Scouts of America was exactly what it said on the box. It was a program for boys to become men through challenge, through accountability, through teamwork and responsibility. And then the culture police showed up. And suddenly the idea of having a space dedicated to boys, just boys, became controversial. Huh? Not outdated, okay? Not in need of improvement, but controversial. And if the very existence of a male only space was an act of aggression. So, under pressure, the Boy Scouts bent the knee and rebranded themselves as Scouts. They dropped the boy, softened the language, blurred the purpose. Meanwhile, and I think this is really, really important, the Girl Scouts is still the Girl Scouts. Still girls, still exclusive, still celebrated. So, is anybody marching on their headquarters demanding that boys be admitted? No, no. Because society views female only spaces as healthy and necessary, and male only spaces as suspicious. That asymmetry tells the story. Some of you remember that there are golf clubs, private golf clubs around the country that didn't admit women. They admitted men. Yes, some places like Augusta had to be embarrassed into admitting black men or any non-white man or Jews, but they did, and but they didn't at the same time admit women because they thought that a male-only space was good for dudes. It was good for them for all the same reasons that it was good that the Boy Scouts be a male only, male exclusive place. So they could challenge each other and hold each other accountable and build teamwork and responsibility. All that stuff. Okay, but again, the asymmetry of it tells the entire story. Now, I want to tell you another story here in just a second. Now, you want to talk about how ridiculous it gets? Let's talk about Kappa Kappa Psi. Kappa Kappa Psi is my own fraternity. Not mine, I didn't start it, but it is the honorary fraternity for men in college band. It's not Phi Mu Alpha. Phi Mu Alpha is a fraternity for men who are in college music. Kappa Kappa Psi is specifically for men in college band. Now, I know people think one way or the other about fraternities and stuff in college, but basically, Kappa Kappa Psi were pack mules. We were pack mules. If the director of band said, "Hey, we got a truck full of new music stands. We need somebody to unload them and take them to the storage room. Willie, could you grab a few brothers and do that?" Sure. So you go to the student lounge and go, "Hey, man, we got some stands here," and you point out some people in the fraternity. And you go off of the truck, move. When we went, when the band went to away games, uh, the band members would leave their luggage on the sidewalk next to the buses, and brothers and pledges from Kappa Kappa Psi would load the buses. When we'd get to our destination, the brothers from KK Psi would get off the bus and unload the buses. So all the band members could just go by, grab their luggage and their instruments, and be on their way. We were pack mules. We were load them up. We were load them up, load them up, put them up. That's who we were. Now we were that same group of young men who were challenging each other and growing and learning at the same time, because we were at the time a male only group. Okay, that's who KK Psi is. That's who we were. Just to give you some background. But now it's co-ed. Okay, fine. Organizations change, and it's been co-ed for a while because there were schools that didn't have a KK Psi chapter, and they admitted women. We didn't where I was, but they started what was known as the Tau Beta Sigma, and Tau Beta Sigma is the, I'm getting way too much in the weeds here, but they were the sorority that were for women in college band, for women in college band, brother sister organizations, if you will. But you know what they call the new female members of KK Psi? Brothers. I'm sorry, what? Brothers. That's not inclusion. That's identity defacement. If you want to include women, call them sisters or members or whatever fits. But female brothers, that's some linguistic gymnastics. Because the real goal isn't inclusion, it's erasing male specific identity. Now, before I go on, and I am going to go on, I'm getting in the weeds about this particular thing because it's close to me. I was at an event recently and had the pleasure of meeting some KK Psi members at a local university, and I'm going to tell you, all of them, the men and the women, were awesome. They were so helpful to what we were doing. They were great. They were really, I want to say this, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, they were really good kids. I really liked them. But brotherhood means something. Male camaraderie means something. Masculine bonds mean something. Yet the culture has decided these bonds are relics and need to be diluted or repurposed. And now we step into the biggest arena where boys are being reshaped: schools. Now, I want to say this as plainly as possible. The modern education system sees boys or boyhood as a malfunction. Energy, too much. Competition, it's dangerous. Roughhousing, violent. Risk taking, reckless. Loudness, threatening. Impulse, disorder. If a boy acts like a boy, active, physical, curious, bold, he's treated like a defective girl because that's the standard. Not the standard student, not the not the child standard, the female standard. She sits quietly, follows directions without question. She does, don't compete too hard. Remember, we're all just trying to have fun. She keeps her emotions internalized. Express yourself gently. These are not neutral expectations. These are girl coded expectations. And the boys who don't match them, you know what we do? Well, we medicate them. We write them up. We suspend them. We label them. We teach them that their nature is wrong. So you want to know why boys are falling behind in reading, graduation rates, and college attendance? Start right there. Do you know why boys don't read? Because they don't give them anything that boys are interested in reading. This is super simple. And if they don't read well, then they don't graduate and they don't go to college and on and on and on. They don't hand them stuff they want to read. So when you treat a child's natural temperament as a flaw, don't be surprised when the kid just checks out. We're raising a generation of boys who have been taught that everything that makes them boys is problematic. Then we wonder, why are young men drifting? Why aren't they responsible? Why aren't they stepping up? Why are they depressed? Why aren't they building careers? Why aren't they forming families? Because we have punished toughness. We punish boldness. We punish risk taking. We punish energy. We punish leadership. We punish independence. We told boys that their strength was a threat. And now we're somehow surprised when their strength disappears. This is not accidental. This is cultural engineering. Okay, and let me say something that should not be controversial. A society that respects women must also respect men. I'll say that to you again in case you didn't get it. Let me get up in your personal space. A society that respects women must also respect men. But today, women only spaces are empowerment, while men only spaces are toxicity. Women networking groups encouraged. Women's sports protected. How not? Women's shelters sacred. There are women's shelters. There's a women's shelter here in town called the Spring, where most people don't know where it is. And that's fine because it has women and kids, women that have been abused. the society around here protects the spring. If you've got an old phone, if you've got something that you want to donate, you get a hold of them. Yeah, and they'll come pick it up. They don't want you to know where it is, and that's awesome. Women's mentorships, applauded. Men's anything must be scrutinized, monitored, rebranded, diversified, and maybe even dismantled. We've forgotten something very simple. Men need male spaces too. They need to learn from older men. They need a place to test themselves. They need a place to build brotherhood, to explore purpose, to inherit an identity. So when you remove those spaces, men don't become enlightened. They become lost. Every civilization that tried to suppress masculinity discovered the same truth. Without strong men, you get weak borders, weak institutions, weak families, weak communities, and weak futures. My friends, masculinity is not optional, it's structural. Masculinity is the skeleton, the load bearing beam, the foundation stabilizer. You don't remove your foundation because somebody on Twitter said concrete is problematic. Now, I'm not asking to move the clock back to 1950. I'm not asking to exclude women from opportunities. I'm not asking to make boys into caricatures of toughness. But I am asking this. Let boys be boys. Let masculine traits exist. Let men have identities without apology. Now, I am not a grumpy old man yelling at the sky in my backyard for noticing this. I'm somebody who remembers what normal is. Now, this isn't just a rant. This is a roadmap. Here's what we can do. 5 things, 6, 7, 5 things we can do. 6 things we can do. 6, 7. Number one, restore male spaces because boys need boyhood. Men need brotherhood, period. Yes, the He-Man's Women Haters Club from the Our Gang comedies. Yes. Number two, reform school discipline standards. Stop punishing natural male behavior. Channel it some way. Figure it out. Before we go on, I'm going to get in the weeds and tell you another story. When you get to my age, what happens is we have stories. My sixth grade teacher, Mr. Lionel Young, as I look back on my educational career, probably the best teacher I ever had. The more I learned, the smarter that dude became. They feed you these lunches in schools and full of carbs, right? They carb you up. You know, they carb you up. They give you sugar. They give you that chocolate milk. That chocolate milk was good, right? And then they expect you to go back to the classroom and sit there with your hands folded, with that half smile on your face. And you'd go back there and you'd watch the boys and they'd be fidgeting. They'd be vibrating. Like, oh my God, right? So what he used to do, he would gather us up, in a line because that's what you did, right? Everybody lines up and you go everywhere in the same line. And he would march us right by our classroom, right into the PE field. And sometimes we would play football, sometimes we would play I learned how to play rugby. His wife would come and she taught us like folk dances. But you know what he almost never did? He didn't see us all jacked up on carbs and then put us back in that classroom to sit there fidgeting and vibrating for the next 3 hours of the day. He did not. That hardly ever happened. We had a garden out in front of our classroom. We would work in sometimes we would work in our garden. He burned off that energy. We ran around, and we he made sure that we could burn off that energy. Now, if you think about this, this is not new. This is in 1970. Let me get this right. 72. So you guys can figure out how long ago that was, right? 1972. Lionel Young had this figured out. So there are ways to channel that energy. It doesn't take a lot to do. It doesn't take, you don't have to flip the system on its head to do that. You don't have to have some top-down thing that you run through the local university to do. You can ask an old teacher. You ask me, I'll tell you. Anyway, we have to rebuild some rites of passage. Boys must have meaningful challenges that are on the path to manhood. Some of the stuff that everybody did. Get a car, fix a car, all that stuff, right? Number 4, teach controlled masculinity. We don't suppress the energy, we refine it. And the best people who do refine it are other men. Those are the best people to refine it. Number 5, celebrate fathers. They're not babysitters. They're not side characters, but leaders. Celebrate fathers. Number 6, speak well of good men. Men. Most boys never hear a positive word about masculinity. We must, we have to change that. All right, let's get out of here. Boys are not broken. Let me tell you, and I'm talking to some women out there. Men are not the problem. Masculinity is not a flaw. We don't need fewer strong men. We need more of them. And if we want a society that actually works, a society that defends its people, builds its future, and raises healthy families, we have to stop pretending the erasure of boyhood is somehow progress. It's not progress. It's cultural vandalism. My name is Willie Lawson. This has been the Morning Report on fightbackmedia.com. Listen, share this episode. Share this episode. Start this conversation. Let's bring sanity back into the picture. Okay, until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.